Tony D here with an intro for the Supercut. As always, these are the comments I made on the Lotus Eaters. When you get a gold tier subscription, you can make a 30-second comment. So most of these are 30 seconds or under 30 seconds because I'm going to cut off the intros so you don't see it again and again and again. Anyhow, it's all stuff about the Pine Barrens, South Jersey, folklore, ghosts, a lot of ghost stories. A few different ones get mixed in there, sometimes North Jersey, sometimes some other places, but mostly that. So enjoy this, and if you like stories about the Pines, don't forget to go to Amazon and check out the Pineys, currently book 1 through 9. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the Pines. Tony D and Little Joan with another Legend of the Pines from globsterblobsandmore.com is the story of the Cape May sea monster. A monster that washed up on shore, the carcass, in 1921. It was estimated to be 15 tons, 76 feet long, with 6-foot tusk. And the most interesting thing is they got a picture right here. Amaton, New Jersey, a ghost town in the Pine Barrens that was used to build Amaton explosives for World War I. Built in 1918, the town was abandoned shortly after the war. The ruins are still there, and then became the home of the Amaton Raceway, built in 1926, stopped use in 1928, and torn down in 1933, but you can still visit the ruins in the Pine Barrens. The Ritz Theater in Oakland, New Jersey, built in 1927, originally as a vaudeville theater. The theater is still in operation today and shows all sorts of live events. What's not so alive are the ghosts that haunt the theaters, including the ghosts of former performers, including a tap dancing ghost, strange glowing orbs, and burlesque ghost. Tony D and Little Joan with all the food named after the Jersey Devil. There's the Valenzano Winery Jersey Devil Port, a nice wine. There's the Jersey Devil Barbecue, which is also a food truck. There's Jersey Devil chocolates, if you like a little spice in your chocolate. Salsa, nuts, and barbecue sauce. And, of course, the Jersey Devil gift basket full of all locally produced Jersey products, including Jersey Boy jerky. The Burlington County Prison Museum in Mount Holly, New Jersey. Originally built in 1811, it was in continuous use as a prison up until 1966. It held such infamous luminaries as Albert DeSalvio, the Boston Strangler. It has many ghosts, but in particular, there is the death room, a room where prisoners had to await their death sentence, and it's supposedly very unnerving if you go inside the room. Russell Hardwick. Russell was my neighbor across the street, and he passed on last week. He was 88. He was a landscaper, and he was a legend in my neighborhood. He would always help people out with their edging, with their leaves, with any kind of landscaping. He was really good at it. He was suffering from dementia towards the end, but that didn't slow him down. Every day he was out there doing something to his lawn, or the church lawn, or the lawn of the historical site. Russell Hardwick, a true legend. Harrisville, New Jersey. The town was built in 1750, and then a sawmill was built around 1815. The sawmill wasn't very successful, but then in 1850, it was converted into a paper mill, and the town thrived. It was originally called McCarthyville, but it was renamed Harrisville when a family bought the paper factory. Unfortunately, the entire town burned down in 1914, but the ruins of the town is still in the Pine Barrens today. The Washington Inn in Cape May. Built in 1846, the inn was meant to resemble Mount Vernon, the home of General George Washington. It's a high-end American restaurant that's currently in operation. It is also the home of several ghosts, including an old woman and a 7-year-old named Elizabeth, who sometimes appears in pictures with the guests. Seabreeze, New Jersey, once a popular tourist destination in the late 1800s, back when steamboat ferries were a thing. It fell into disrepair and started to go downhill in the early 1900s, culminating with the burning down of the hotel in the 1940s. It's mainly just been reclaimed by the ocean and the marshlands. A few ruined buildings and a few empty docks is all that's left of Seabreeze, New Jersey. From the Lenni Lenape Indian comes the underwater panther, otherwise known as the Mishushipu. These creatures were part cougar and part dragon. They lived in deep water, and if you got too close, they would drag men and women to their deaths to drown. The Jersey Devil, a more recent sighting which happened in 2015. A man by the name of David Black was driving down Route 9 in Egg Harbor Township. As he passed the golf course, he noticed a llama on the grounds, and then suddenly the llama sprouted wings and flew away. He managed to get a picture of the beast, which he claims is the Jersey Devil. From Roadside America and Weird New Jersey magazine, it's the painted rock of Forked River. This large rock appeared one day and people started painting it at first with graffiti. Now it's painted on a regular basis by a local retired painter who puts on tributes to people who have passed on and seasonal things. It's a roadside attraction. If you're down on 539, check out the painted rock. From Urban Legends Online, it's the tale of the Hooker Man. Now this tale is as far north as Bud Lake, New Jersey, and as far south right near me in Washington Township. And it's the story of a train worker who used to hold the lanterns for the train at night, getting hit by one of the trains and losing his hand. And now his ghost haunts the railways at nights, and sometimes you can see the strange green glow on the train tracks. Cookie Jar House of Gloucester Township, New Jersey. This house was originally built in the late 40s to withstand atomic blast. They call it the Cookie Jar House because it's just shaped that way. They were originally going to build a whole neighborhood of these houses, but they only built the one. And it's kind of an oddity over in Glendora, New Jersey, not far from my house. I really wish I lived in a giant cookie jar that could withstand an atomic blast. Tony D and Little Joan with a request for Gettysburg, Pennsylvania ghost at the battlefield. Gettysburg is way too much for me to cover in 30 seconds. There are a ton of ghosts and a ton of battlefield there. I have not been to the battlefield myself, but Greg Euling, a New Jersey native, captured this footage there, and you can see a ghost running around the cannons, perhaps loading them for all eternity. The Stephen Crane House from Haunts.com. The Stephen Crane House, for those of you who don't know, Stephen Crane wrote The Red Badge of Courage, and the house is located in Asbury Park, New Jersey. He lived there in the 1800s, and it is full of ghosts, ghostly children. It was profiled on Ghost Hunters on the Sci-Fi Network, and some of the children will even pick up fireplace pokers and hit you on the head with them. To answer Callum's question yesterday, short answer, no, I don't believe in ghosts. But it reminded me of a TV producer who contacted me years ago when I was doing the Jersey Devil comic. They were doing a documentary on the Jersey Devil, and I gave him my bona fides. I knew all the folklore. And he said, yeah, but have you seen the Jersey Devil? And I was like, no. But you believe in the Jersey Devil, right? And I was like, listen, I'm not crazy. Tony D and Little Joan with a secret origin of the Jersey Devil. I met one of the authors of the Jersey Devil book, McCloy or Miller, I forget. But he told me that according to their research, there was a Leeds family member born, this is in the early 1700s, that possibly had some sort of mental deficiency. The help talked about him, concluded he was touched by the devil, and then that whisper down the lane became the folktale of the Jersey Devil. Some of the things named after the Jersey Devil: the 177th Fighter Wing in the Air National Guard is called the Fightin' Jersey Devils. There's J.D.'s Pub and Grill, home of the Jersey Devil, in Leeds Point, New Jersey, right where it was born. Jersey Devil Golf and Fun Center, if you like miniature golf, driving range, and ice cream. The Jersey Devil roller coaster at Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey. And, of course, the NHL hockey team, the New Jersey Devils. Weird New Jersey magazine, it's the holy, holy altar of Mount Holly. This strange altar rests upon a hill in Mount Holly, and legend has it a woman summoned the Jersey Devil, was killed by the devil, and the locals sealed her body and the devil into this altar, which says holy, holy, holy on the sign. Finally, I know where the Jersey Devil got to. Red Oak Grove, New Jersey, a ghost town in the middle of the Pine Barrens, founded in 1846 by a man named Samuel Bryant. The only thing you'll find today are a bunch of foundations and bricks out in the middle of the woods. If you search hard enough, you can find Samuel Bryant's property marker, but for some reason in the late 1890s, the town just died. No one's sure what happened to the inhabitants. The only thing left of the town now is a road in the Pine Barrens called Red Oak Grove Road. The ghost of Rowan University. This ghost supposedly haunts the Rowan University campus at Bunce Hall, which is part of the theater program. It also encompasses Tohill Theater, which is named after Elizabeth Tohill, and legend has it that the ghost is actually Elizabeth Tohill, attending shows and going to rehearsals. Apparently, you get a little more for your tuition at Rowan. Tony D and Little Joan, to answer Callum's question, the site I used was NewJerseyHauntedHouses.com, and Field of Screams was one of the many independently produced haunted houses listed on the site. They are open, some of them year-round. Most of them are open at the fall, around September to November. They have haunted hay rides, haunted houses, corn mazes. We love Halloween in South Jersey. From Weird New Jersey Magazine, it's Dr. Smith's New Jersey Fountain of Youth. Dr. Smith and his colleagues discovered the fountain in the Pine Barrens in the late 1800s and built a spa in nearby Egg Harbor City in the early 1900s. The spa claimed to cure almost everything, and Dr. Smith himself said he was over 122 years old. Part of the spa survives today as the Roundhouse Museum in Egg Harbor, but no one knows where the fountain's located. The Scottish Rite Auditorium in Collingswood, New Jersey. It is haunted by one of its former owners, a man by the name of William Hurley, who died in 1928. Hurley was a devout Catholic, and the Knights of Columbus would be excommunicated from the Catholic religion if they ever became a Mason. Hurley's widow sold the building off to the Masons, who still have an office there to this day. Tony D and Little Joan with a response to Leo. Leo mentioned the Sopranos episode that takes place in the Pine Barrens. Yes, that's the same Pine Barrens I talk about, and that episode always kind of bothered me. I never knew why. I went back and looked at it. As you can see in the background, the trees, they're maple and oak. They have no leaves. If you look at the Pine Barrens trees, this is the way pine trees look in the winter in South Jersey. Thank you, Leo. Mystery solved. From the Princeton Weekly Alumni Newsletter comes the Princeton Ghost. A lot of strange stories on campus. I'll have to delve in deeper, including Aaron Burr Sr. and the ghost of Aaron Burr Jr. supposedly walk on campus. The students have also seen the strangest ghost of all, that of former Senator Bill Bradley. He was also a basketball star and alumni. The problem is, Bill Bradley's still alive. From Cape May Magazine, it's the Cape May Horse Track. Built in the late 1800s, this track was built on the site of a burned-down hotel. You can see a picture of the remains of the track here, taken in 1933. It's now a housing development, but in its day, the track was insanely popular for about 2 or 3 years. But then a new sport took its place. It was called baseball. From the Jersey Devil book, the Jersey Devil hunters in the 50s and early 60s. A lot of people would go off into the woods hunting the Jersey Devil. It got so bad that the Gibbstown Police Department posted those signs that said the Jersey Devil is a hoax. And no wonder the Broadway Improvement Association of Camden promised $10,000 reward for the Jersey Devil, and the Hunts Brothers Circus in Florence promised $100,000 for the Jersey Devil, dead or alive. From the Princeton Alumni Weekly comes the story of Old Man Seeger. Seeger was a banker who lived in Princeton and built his own house. He loved to do carpentry to relax. But unfortunately, his wife died in childbirth around the time of the Civil War. His house fell into disrepair and he fell into a deep depression. But in the afterlife, he apparently has continued his hobby of carpentry, and the inhabitants of the house can hear him puttering around. From Casino City Times and the Gaming Guru comes the story of Atlantic City's resort's hotel ghost. They include a woman in black who wanders the beach, a bride and groom who haunt the second floor, and a strange little ghost that appears as Charlie Chaplin's little tramp, who most who see him mistake him for an entertainer. The story of Emilio Crescenza. He was the Mexican Charles Lindbergh. He was a pilot who flew record long distances. Unfortunately, he crashed in the Pine Barrens and died. This is his memorial, located in Tabernacle, New Jersey. According to legend, that when they got to the crash site, they found many hoof prints and something had dragged the body from the plane. The locals say it was the Jersey Devil. Hey guys, just wanted to add it to the discussion about cleaning things with sand. When I was a kid, I was a Boy Scout, and the Boy Scouts would go to the Pine Barrens, and the Pine Barrens is nothing but sand and pine trees, and since we didn't have extra water to clean the dishes from the campsite, we would use sand to scour you know, everything in camp was like metal. So you'd use the sand to scour things, and then you'd wipe off the sand, and the dishes would be clean. Tony D and Little Joan with the El Futuro house. These houses were built all over the world, and they looked like flying saucers. This one was converted at the Wildwood Boardwalk into a ride that spun around. It was the Planet of the Apes ride when I rode it as a kid. Instead of a haunted house, they had Planet of the Apes characters. It was also turned into a Star Trek ride and a Star Wars ride. They tried to sell it not too long ago, but nobody bought it, so the rumor is they're bringing back the ride. From YourGhostStories.com come the stories of ghosts at Six Flags Great Adventure. This is an amusement park located in Jackson, New Jersey. There was a terrible fire back in the mid-'80s, and the haunted house burned down with several teenagers in it, and they all died. People report seeing ghosts or strange shapes or getting cold or seeing people out of the corner of their eye with dated clothing, but when they look, the ghosts are gone.